Good evening. Welcome to the earnings review, your tidbits into company financials and operational insights. Thank you for joining us as we broadcast from our Hampton studios in Harare, Zimbabwe. I'm Ibn Mabunda, your money man. On the show, we engage top echelon executives to get you up to speed with first-hand information. We also chat with the most competent analysts on the market just to ensure you're furnished with relevant and comprehensive market analysis. Tonight, we focus on Zimplow, a listed industrial concern on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange. Now, this is a manufacturer as well as distributor of equipment that is used in mining, agriculture, as well as construction, and has been in operation in Zimbabwe for over 85 years. The group boasts of several brands under its wings and is known for distributing international brands across the board. Some of the brands include the Massey Ferguson, Falcon, Valtra, as well as the Caterpillar, among others. Notably, the group has been in operation since 1939. Let's just have a quick look at their timeline. The entity, having been founded in 1939, went on to list on the local exchange in 1951. The decades that followed saw a series of acquisitions that then became the game changer and form the linchpin of the progression of the entity. In the year 2006, the group acquired City Bolts, which marked their entrance into the fasteners market. In 2008, the group went on to acquire an entity known as Tasberg before an acquisition of Afritrac in 2011. 2012 saw the acquisition of the firm of Tractive Power Holdings, which was at the time a listed concern. 2013 would be a defining year as several key changes took place. Several key brands were disposed of, including Tasberg as well as the Pazzi and Payne. Notably, this also saw the delisting of Tractive Power Holdings. In 2015, this saw a staff rationalization program as well as the exit from the Case franchise. Fast forward to 2018, this saw the disposal of a key unit, which was the Afritrac. Follow me now as I take you on how the group is organized and how it pushes its agenda on the business front. It has four key divisions, which are the agriculture, the mining and construction, investment property, as well as power systems. On to the farming divisions, there are two units, which are the Farmec as well as the Mealie Brand. With these, they manufacture as well as distribute several key agricultural inputs, including harrows, planters, as well as cultivators. Under this unit, the group also specializes in animal traction technology. Under the mining as well as construction units, it has two units as well, which are the City Bolts as well as Barzem. In this very umbrella, the group manufactures and distributes fasteners, which are used in mining, agriculture, as well as construction. Notably, Zimplow also distributes mining equipment in this very arm. Under the properties wing, the group holds a shareholding, a significant one, in Manica Road Investments. And under the power systems, this is where you have a key brand, Farmec, wherein the entity provides generators that are used in industry. Some vital statistics: with the current stock price of 305 cents, the group has a market capitalization of 702 million Zimbabwean dollars. The stock has moved 404% since the year started, vis-a-vis an industrials index that has moved over 300%. Comparatively, the ZSE All Share has mounted over 650% to date. Its key shareholders include the Sino Properties, which owns a 35% stake, as well as the Kenco Holdings with an 11% shareholdings. Notably, the group is arguably one of the largest distributors of farming implements in sub-Saharan Africa. Now, this concludes the Halajus section of our show. In just a moment, we'll have a look at an earlier conversation we had with the group chief executive, Vimbayi Nyakudya. Don't go anywhere. Good day, Vimbayi, and thank you for joining us on the earnings review.
Thank you, Eben. Thank you for having me here.
Fantastic. Just to get the ball rolling, how are you faring with the COVID?
Well, Eben, it has been a difficult situation over the past 2.5 months, in fact 3 months now. But like any other business, we have to survive. We have to think of ways in which we can adapt. The safety of our people, the safety of our customers and our communities is of paramount importance to us. And we had to observe the necessary safety measures in order to adapt.
Vimbayi, I want us to just have a look at your 2019 performance and a little bit into your most recent trading update. And to start on your 2019 performance, your revenue there scaled 85%, while the profit after tax scaled 200%. What informed the robust performance?
Thank you, Eben. What was critical for our 2019 performance was the diversified structure of our business. We are exposed into the mining sector. We have got the agricultural side. We have got the energy or power side. You would see that the agricultural side, towards the end, we faced quite a number of difficulties. But because we are also exposed not only to the local market, we have got export sales that we do to the regional countries. And those came through significantly on our top line. I would say exports were a key driver of our performance in 2019. Secondly, the fact that there was a bit of power outages on the grid, it really contributed to our energy sector. If you see with Perkins, our generator business significantly grew compared to the previous year. We sold more whole goods, we sold more hours, we sold more parts. And one other factor which was so important for us in the year 2019 was the revival of Barzem. Barzem is in the past not performed very well as we have reported in the past. And this time around, Barzem came through with a fairly encouraging performance. I would say other businesses like Farmec could, although they lost out on a bit of performance in terms of all goods sales, part sales, or even hours, but there was an improvement in terms of the way we captured the little business that was there. Similarly with City Bolts, we managed to capture the business that was available effectively. I mean, in terms of margins, you would see that there was an improvement in margins on those particular businesses.
Fair enough. As follow-up to what you just alluded to, I'd want to know how much of your revenue is actually denominated in foreign currency as a statistic.
Overall, looking at the group, the revenue that comes, which we earn in foreign currency or which comes from the export market, it is roughly about, in fact, it roughly came to about 25% of the previous year. Overall, it might look like a small number, but if you look at the business that we record in country, our business largely, because we are into distributorships, we supply and distribute products from our principal dealers, and that is largely in territory, that is largely in Zimbabwe. The ability to export normally comes as a plus, as a boost to our top line. Therefore, for us to record a 25% growth in export performance, that is quite significant for us.
Fair enough. And on the exports front, which markets are you playing in, and what is the growth potential in that regard?
Well, we are mainly focused on the sub-Saharan region, countries like Zambia, Angola, Tanzania, Mozambique, Botswana, South Africa. And if you look at these countries, they are predominantly communal kind of farmer or small-scale agriculturally driven. And therefore, in terms of those demographics, we believe that there is potential for us to grow. They always be communal farming, particularly that the part which is animal drawn. And as a result, we have had competition. That's the point which I need to mention. We have had competition from the Chinese markets. We have had competition from the Indian suppliers. But as we move forward with the fact that we have also been able to refine our processes and the way we do business as a result of the interventions of 2016, in particular SI 64, which became SI 111, it gave us time to reorganize ourselves and adapt to the new normal. And we have been able to compete in that regard with our counterparts from the East Asian countries.
Fair enough. And at this point, I think more than the values that are denominated in the local currency, it would also be of use to look at the volumes and how things played out. And I noticed that in your PowerMac unit, your volume sold doubled over the past year. What informed that performance?
The number one factor was the power outages that were experienced from the on-grid performance. Secondly, it was also our ability to predict or to project what was going to happen in the environment. So we organized our supply chain in such a way that we could be able to mop up all the demand that was going to come through from the power outages and be able to supply our market. In so doing, we had organized the supply side. We also had to organize our front end or our customer facing side of the business, where we had to increase the number of staff. If you look at the service side, we had to double up our numbers. If you look at the sales side of the whole goods, we also had to double up our numbers in order to increase our reach. Therefore, that response alone gave us more trust and better access to markets, as it were, in 2019.
And with persisting power issues in the country, what are you doing to ensure that you maximize on the potential that spells for the unit?
If you look at PowerMac, originally we have been a generator business. And if you look at where we are going in terms of environmental concerns, global climate change, global warming, yes, we are predominantly a generator business, but we have been also be able to introduce a new product, which is the solar. We are combining the offering to give a hybrid power system. We are not only going to be just an alternative supplier of energy on the mechanical side, but we are also contributing that with the solar side. So with the relationships that we have already created in the agricultural sector, the relationships that we have developed in the mining sector, we are going to, in fact, we have relied on those kind of relationships to give our customers a total solution. Not only will they rely on us for their generator services, for their generator purchases, but we'll be able to give them a green, sustainable solution to their power situation as well.
Fair enough. And still on power, there's of course a growing demand for gensets. How are you ensuring that you have adequate stocks?
So, like I've mentioned, in terms of the key contributors of our performance in the past year, we responded by increasing our stock uptake. we allocated more capital to the generator business. Therefore, if you come even now, we have got sufficient stocks to cover even if there is a sudden upsurge in demand. So it's all about having the capital, having the people, and at the end of the day, we already have the right brand in Perkins engines. So those three pillars alone are sufficient for us to service our customers to the best of our ability.
Okay, now let's move into your first quarter trading update. Your revenue came in at an increase of 896%, of course, exceeding the levels of inflation reported during that very period. Can you give one or two highlights into what informed that very performance?
The first quarter was characterized by, as I've explained before, our group is diversified. It is founded on strong sectors of our economy, or the drivers of our economy, which is agriculture and mining. And therefore, we realized, because in the past year, we had a bit of a deficit in rain in the first part of the year. So we realized that our agricultural side was not going to perform that much. And therefore, we concentrated much more on the mining side. And Barzem, in particular, recorded such an encouraging performance. In terms of whole goods, as I have noted, there was a doubling up effect. There was a huge increase in terms of the whole goods sold. Our parts sales increased, our service hours sold increased. Farming as well, as much as we had a challenge on the farming side, the whole goods performance was very encouraging. It was better than last year. If you look at Farmec, the generator sales continued to perform despite the stability on the grid. City Bolts volumes improved as well. It was only Mealie Brand, the animal drone business, or the business that is focused mostly on animal drone implements, which suffered volume reduction, mainly as a result of the fact that there was a drought in the first part of the year. And our customers on the Mealie Brand side, most of our customers, they are dryland farmers, and therefore could not or adapt to the change in the climate or in the weather, as compared to the commercial farmers who can rely on irrigation.
Talking about drought, we have seen a lot of vagaries in as far as the climate is concerned. What does that mean for your business?
Thank you. So, climate change is a big challenge for everyone who is agricultural centric. It means that for our farmers in particular, our customers, they need to focus more on water conservation, building up reservoirs, constructing irrigation infrastructure. And you know what? Our commercial farmers in particular, and with the focus on farming, they have been able to improve that. I think you recall that the efforts that were made by the government in command agriculture from 2017 to 2019 had a contributory effect to the growth of the irrigation capacity of our country, and it enabled our commercial farmers to capacitate themselves, and in so doing, that enabled farming as a business to be able to have some kind of a resilient business model. So what we can only do from an equipment supply side, we can only encourage our customers to be more productive, to put in seeds that are more resilient to climate change, But on the Mealie Brand end, we have always known that our business is cyclical. As soon as the drought hits, there will be a volume reduction. So what we need to do is to be able to ride the wave, to ride that cycle. And with that diversified infrastructure base, or the diversification which we have already done with having the likes of Farmec, Barzem, Powermec, City Bolts in the business structure, it protects us, or it gives us that resilience in the business model. And therefore, like what I've been explaining in the first quarter, though Mealie Brand did not perform as in the previous years, other business came to the party and they performed very well to cover up the gap that was caused by the absence of Mealie Brand's performance.
Okay. And now to talk about Barzem, you have highlighted that this has been a brand that has been creating value for the entity. But my question is, given the statistics that are playing out in the local industry, where industrial activity has been on a decline, last year it came through at 36%, with estimations presented by the CZI that it could actually take a dip to 27%. What has been the strategy?
So as the market declines, or the overall market economic activity, aggregate demand falls, you also need to adjust accordingly. You need to make sure that in terms of market share, if you are getting 25%, you need to grow your market share to about 50%. So definitely, in terms of the three factors, the three pillars that make up our business, that make up the organization of our business, which is the people, the brand itself, or the stocking, the supply side, and thirdly, the capital side. Those pillars are sufficiently organized in order to capture everything that will come our way. And therefore, that is what we have been able to do with Barzem. We recruited the right people. And you'd notice that we recruited a country manager at the beginning of the year, a gentleman who has got a lot of experience in Henry Madori. And that has given us a lot of trust in the market. And I'm glad to say that with the efforts that we have been putting in the previous year, together with our partners, Ballowwood, the performance has been far much better than what we have recorded in the past 2 years.
I realize.
So in terms of infrastructure projects, as much as they've declined, we have been able to be there for our customers in terms of providing the right products at the right time, providing the product at the right price, and also providing some kind of capacitation in terms of the financing side of the business. So it's such a significant factor in terms of improving the business. If you look at the mining side, yes, there might be a decline in performance, but because we have been there with our customers, the customers that were seeking to rely on us, we have been able to provide that lift to them.
Fair enough. And talking about market share, how are you consolidating your presence in the mining sector? There could be some instability in the sector, maybe that would be temporal, but there remains some not notable opportunities going into the future. How are you consolidating your presence there?
So in terms of market share, one key thing that we have managed to do this year has been the development of a key relationship in terms of financing our customers. You will notice that we are into capital expenditure, and when demand declines, the capacity to expend on capital expenditure in particular becomes less. People focus more on fleet maintenance rather than fleet replacement. And we have been able to then come in with a stopgap measure, an in-house financing structure for our customers, which can at least enable them to pick up goods just after paying a deposit and then pay the rest of the balance over time. And that alone yes, there's been a significant pool of customers to Barzem and our businesses in general. So that was number one. And number two, we, like I indicated, we had to put the right people at the right places. Improving our access to markets was a key factor for us, because at the end of the day, you need to be available where business is being done, or where there is an opportunity to do business. And that is what we have done. In addition, we have also improved our backup infrastructure. We upgraded our workshop. I'm happy to say that if you look at the players in terms of workshop capacity, we have put ourselves at the very top. And that is something that I'm excited about, that we are able to do every other engine to up to the biggest engines that you may know. If you know about earth moving equipment, some of the biggest machines are the D11s, D11 engines, and we are able to look after those kind of machines. Our transmission bay is fantastic. It's a beacon. Our track and our undercarriage repair bay has been put back online. Our hydraulics, we can now do hoses for even for other players as well, for other earth moving equipment. Anyone who has equipment other than CAT can come to us for services. So those are some of the improvements that we have put in place to improve our performance and capture the market share that we have lost in the past.
You did mention the financing aspect of the business. Given the volatility brought about by inflation, how are you managing and navigating? Are you providing the financing in US dollars now? What's the situation like?
So the relief that was, I'll first point out to the relief that was provided by the government in terms of allowing the dollar to become a currency again. At least you know, we deal with mostly imported equipment, and being able to ask a mining an exporter to pay in US dollars was a game changer for us as well. Therefore, in terms of giving financing, it became much easier for us to structure something that can work for our customers. In the past, before all this happened, we were looking very short term. We were looking at the customers that we believe have got capacity to develop a long-term relationship with us. And those are the customers that we've been concentrating on. And so at the end of the day, it will be a win-win kind of situation. Being able to offer something, yes, the inflationary environment can cause some losses here and there if you offer financing structures. But being able to offer a hybrid structure like what we are now able to do now, it's a game changer. And that has improved our performance a lot.
Fair enough. Now, can you tell us how the COVID has affected your business, perhaps on the sales as well as the supply side of things?
The government implemented a lockdown towards the end of March, and it limited movement. And that alone, it affected our business. Though we were classified as an essential service, it restricted our customers' ability to move. Yes, we could move to a certain extent freely in order to respond to breakdowns and where we were needed to be physically present. We could move, but our customers could not then move or come to us or be able to be there when we needed their input or their interventions. So that limiting movement, and to top it up, most countries then closed down their borders, and our export markets were then affected as a result. Overall, this limitation in movements affected our ability to trade, our ability to transact, And that has been the significant impact of COVID on our business. Yes, we had to utilize the online methods of communication, the Zoom, as we are doing now. We had to use Teams. We had to use our telephones significantly in order to get to our customers and be able to provide a service. One thing that we wanted to avoid was disruption in the services of our customers. And we wanted to ensure that our employees and our customers are safe as well.
Now, given the currency wars that embattle Zimbabwe, what sort of arrangements do you have with Massey Ferguson, Valtra, and some of these international brands that are part of your portfolio in terms of securing adequate stocks going forward?
What we have done in the past 3 years, one of the things, again, go back to the 3 pillars that significantly improve, in fact, that puts us in a league of our own, is that we had to organize our capital side, our balance sheet effectively in order to be able to procure stocks on a prepayment basis. We had to build up a base in terms of whole stock and parts so that we can be able to supply our customers continuously. And in fact, before I go to what that has done for us even up until now, I've spoken about our people. I've spoken about our the brands themselves, that we deal with these imported brands. And therefore, our ability to have proper relationships with our suppliers, the brand owners, our ability to have key staff being available for us. With this current situation, we have been able to be prepared or to have a buffer in terms of capacity. And therefore, even as we speak now, we are 3 months, 5 months in terms of cover of our stocks. We have got the key people at the right place at the right time. And our relationship with our suppliers are good to the extent that should we need to call upon on credit lines that they offer to us, we will be okay. So in terms of the organization up until where we are now, I'm happy to say that we had prepared for this situation like this. We can easily rely on our balance sheet for strength during these difficult times as we navigate through the current situation.
What are you doing on a digital front in terms of embracing the 4th industrial revolution, in as far as your business is concerned, of course?
COVID has caused almost everyone to adapt to the new normal, whereby digital communication and digital marketing has to be the way to go, even in terms of how you manage your supply chain, how you manage your banking system. And therefore, we have embarked on a program which in the near future will be rolled out on a massive scale in terms of how we access our markets, even our website, how we improve or refresh the way our website feels, the way we have a strong online presence on social medias, digital marketing platforms. I think that's the only way to go. And even with our equipment as well, we have already put in place some telematics or telemetry abilities in our equipment. You'll see we'll be able to monitor and moving equipment when we are in our offices, being able to provide backup, being able to call our customer when there is a challenge that may happen with any of the machines. So these are some of the things that we are doing, and I'm glad our principals have already embarked on such kind of programs for us to be able to implement in these difficult times or in this digital age.
That being said, in a nutshell, what is your outlook for the next year or two?
What I can say is, as a business operating in Zimbabwe, we can only plan to manage our environment. And already, like I said, we have got the balance sheet strength. We have created a strong base for us to move forward, and we have organized our people in a very effective way. We have improved the relationships that we have with our principals, our brand owners, and therefore, what's left is to develop the right relationships in the right places, and that is what we are doing. With the financing structure that I've mentioned, I believe that we are able to give customers the right product at the right price and with the right terms to access that product. In addition, in terms of the maintenance of the backup side, we have already put in place a digital infrastructure. Like I said, telematics is a good tool for us to be able to monitor, to be able to respond to our customers wherever they are, despite the limitations in movement which may be caused by COVID. And also going forward, we have got a number of programs which we will roll out, and I will be communicating with the media every now and then to update in terms of the things that we are going to be doing.
Oh, thank you so much, Vimbayi. Thank you for joining us on the program. Good luck with the ensuing financial season.
Thank you very much, Eben. Thank you for having me on your platform.
Thank you, and do have yourself a great day. Welcome back. That, of course, was Vimbayi, the Chief Executive for the group, shedding light on their operations. And now joining me on set is our very own investment analyst at Equity Access, Respect Kwenzi. Respect, good evening and welcome to the Earnings Review.
Thank you, Eben. It's always my pleasure. Good evening, viewers.
Fantastic. Let's get the ball rolling. One of the key takeaways from that conversation, Respect, was the fact that Vimbayi alluded to the fact that the group generated 25% of their revenue through exports. How important is that very matrix given what's playing out in the Zimbabwean economy?
In times when there's a tight economic situation, it always pays to have operations that are quite diversified, income that was also diversified. Looking at the history of this country over the past 10 years, early dollarization, there were issues to do. In fact, before dollarization, we had issues to do with hyperinflation, exchange rate depreciation, and we saw so many companies trying to move out, getting into the region. You could talk of Afsan, you could talk of RTG, you could talk of Tenau and so forth. So most of these listed companies sought to have a leg in these outside economies in the region, just as a way to diversify their income and neutralize the situation back home. And getting into dollarization, that quite changed. Most companies started to look inwards because the dollar is strong. It got to give them more value, and they had to close down some of these regional operations. But looking at Zimplow, they've maintained their presence in the region, particularly because they are agro-focused. Much of their income comes from the agro sector, and they have been able to supply mainly equipment from their Mealie Brand, which is utilized in terms of farming operations, and they have really anchored part of the agricultural prowess that has been going on in the region. So it's quite important that they maintained this foot in the region, because it really gave them that ability to earn income in USD terms in periods where the local market is quite turbulent.
Fair enough. Now, let's talk about how the group is anchored. They have their foot in agriculture through the Farmec and the Mealie Brand legs. Then in the construction, as well as mining sector, they have Barzem as one of their key brands there. How important are those investment initiatives in creating value for the group?
In the local market, looking at Barzem, they have quite some exclusive rights in terms of distributorship of these brands, Caterpillar as well. And this actually gives them a foothold in the market. In fact, they give them a leg ahead of everyone else. And so they've been able to gain a significant market share. But now looking at issues to do with infrastructure in the country, especially in 2020, government had to slow down much of its infrastructure projects. And we all know that government is the biggest driver of infrastructure in this country. So it obviously have a ripple effect in terms of the sales that accrue in that regard. But they also have sales in the mining sector. But like infrastructure, there has been a slow growth in mining as well. So you would expect the Barzem entity to grow, but obviously not at a very, at a very quicker pace than you would expect when the economy was really growing at a good rate.
Talking about pace, what would be the expected pace of recovery given the slump that they took in the first quarter due to the pandemic? Much of their matrices are actually in the negative. There was a 64% drop in as far as their volumes in the first quarter of the year. This is before we start talking about what happened in the second quarter of the year. What it would be the anticipated rate of recovery after this phase is done away with?
I think it's always important to look at what underpins demand for their products. Notably, a good fraction of their products is driven by the fact that there's demand for food, and so food, especially the grains that are quite key in the region. Suppose you look at maize as a staple diet for much of the sub-Saharan region. It simply means that irrespective of this pandemic, there will still be demand for food, and they play a pivotal role in terms of the production side of that food, which we all demand. So I think that there is demand elasticity where it comes to food, and also it kicks in terms of the kind of equipment that has to be bought or that has to be utilized in terms of production of this food. So I think that they will definitely rebound after COVID, but quite pertinently, the macro dynamics, especially in fact the dynamics in terms of weather, I think that one is quite significant. As long as the key markets keep being affected by these changes in terms of weather patterns, that might actually impact the group, because you can't do anything when you don't have the waters to actually utilize in terms of production. So I think from COVID they will emerge, but there are already hurdles that are around weather patterns, but they're also quite diversified. Whereas Zim was facing drought, some of the countries in the region were actually, they had good rains, and they would obviously feed into that. So I think they will definitely rebound.
And lastly, he also highlighted the fact that they've received some amount, although he did not disclose how much, from the government's $18 billion stimulus package. Your comment on that very development?
Yeah, you would expect that. I think the allocation to agriculture was the biggest, and obviously that also goes into the production of equipment that is related to that sector. So it's not really a surprise, but it's also quite pivotal. It really shows government's commitment in terms of ensuring food security, which is also quite important if you are to maintain stability on the social side. So obviously, Zimplow finds itself in that situation where they obviously enjoy proximity to the sector which they supply equipment on. So it's a good thing. They will definitely have some working capital. They will be able to meet some of their working capital requirements with that.
Well, thank you, Respect, for the perspectives. Always a pleasure having you on set.
Sure.
Thank you, viewers, for staying with us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and to visit our informative website, www.equityaccess.net. Remember to catch us every Tuesday, every Thursday on this very platform, 7 p.m. Central African Time. From Ibn Mabunda, your money man, and the Equity Access team, Danke and ciao.